Hello, hello, hello. Hey everyone. It is another time for Builder's Block.
Hey everyone.
Oh, and I need to correct my audio because I hear myself really loudly behind
Another
me.
time for Builder's Block.
Hey everyone. Oh, and I need to correct my audio because I hear myself really loudly behind me.
Another time for Builder's Block.
Hey everyone. Oh, and I need to correct my audio because I hear myself really loudly behind me.
Another time for Builder's Block.
Oh, and I need to correct my audio because I hear myself really loudly. All right, this is a test. Okay, I don't hear an echo yet. How about all of you? A, can you hear me at all? And do you still hear an echo again? And hi, Ari. Perfect time to arrive, hopefully after a catastrophic audio accident. But hopefully people can actually hear me this time and not hear a massive reverbing echo like we did before. Ah, thank goodness. That's very good to hear. So, hi, Ashley. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Ari. Hi, John. And everyone else who's in the chat. Thank you so much for coming and checking things out. And I'm so glad Chromecast is finally working. I don't know why it was never working, but I'm glad it's working now. Ooh, and we have a subscription. That was a good start. That is a solid start to another solid episode of the Builder's Block. I'm Jess, she, her. You're awesome. And this is the Builder's Block on the Transverse Network. And if you don't know what's going on, you probably all do, because I feel like I recognize most of you, but in case you don't, the deal is, this is a show where we take turns creating. There's a few different creators who do different creative things, and we take turns different nights, showing off what we enjoy creating, what we enjoy building. We have Emily, who does custom Star Wars droids, which are awesome things. We have Rosa, who does mecha kits, and you have me, who does Lego things. And that's what you're going to see some tonight. The usual way I've been doing, and by usual, I mean like 2 out of the last 3 episodes, is sharing a little bit of what I've done in the past, and then we get to build some stuff here together. Hey, Charlie. So glad to have you here. Yeah, so if nothing else, why not let's begin. And as I do, I also want to talk a little bit about the Transverse Network. So if you have not come here before to any of our shows, it's not just the Builder's Block. It's definitely not just me. It's mostly not me. It's tons of other trans creators who do tons of other shows. And there's lots of great content available. So if you subscribe to the Transverse Network, you'll not only be gaining alerts about this show, you'll get alerts about all the other very cool things that we do here. And I hope you'll consider that if you are not already subscribed. As I dive into the thing I want to share, the past creation I want to share, I'm also going to have something to drink because my throat is already dry, which is a great sign 3 minutes in. Tonight, I needed that. Tonight I'm doing a double IPA, which I have not had before. OFD by Dorchester Brewing. I'm pretty sure this is something I got as part of the Queer Beer Festival that was a couple weekends ago. A lot of fun. They shipped me all these different beers, and we got to watch some of the creators and crafters show up on a Zoom call and basically get to hear them talk about their beer. It wasn't as fun as when we were able to do it in person a couple years back, but still great to be able to do something and help celebrate Pride. So like I said, I build Lego things. I do these different custom Lego creations. And I think they're fun. I hope some of you think they're fun. I will not ship you beer, Jeannie. That's my beer. Next time you come out to the East Coast, you can have some of the beer. You can do all the West Coast. I can't help you. I'm not going to ship you out to the West Coast. I do these custom Lego things, and I think you might appreciate them. But you don't have to just take my word for it. I can also show you, hopefully, some evidence that you can think is pretty cool too. And so, in addition to trying to build some stuff here in front of you, because some of it can take so long to do, I also figure I might as well show you some of the stuff I built in the past to show the kinds of stuff that's possible if I have more than 2 hours, if I have free reign, free room, and a couple months, the kinds of things I can build. And hopefully you'll get a taste of in tonight's show. And I'm very sorry to hear that you're out of beer, Emily. That is a tragedy. This is why I have not only the regular fridge full of beer, but also the beer fridge full of beer. You have like backups. It's all key to keep making sure you can switch between choices. All right, let's look at a past Lego creation. So this is my website. If you've not already seen it before, it's not completely done yet. I'm still writing all the trans talk session, which goes into my story and thoughts on faith. Fears and concerns, 101 stuff. That's the plan. Have not finished it yet, but one thing I have finished is the creations section. I probably need to start updating it more often, but it does exist. And so you can see in here, and I have to make sure I move my mouse. I'm on monitor 4, 3, 2. Come on, where's monitor 1? Let's get all the way over there. I have to actually turn around and see where my mouse is. Oh, I only got to monitor 2. Here's monitor 4. The creation section of my website, which has a lot of the different Lego stuff I have. Plus, you can see the alerts of when I'm going to be on. So if you've seen the site in the last 2.5 weeks, I think you'll see that tonight was the time. So I do occasionally, mostly try to remember to update that, so you can see when I'll be on here. And that's okay, Pickles. You don't have to be keen on beer. You don't have to like alcohol at all. If you do happen to like it or can safely drink it, I'm happy to talk about it. I'm very ecumenical when it comes to my alcohol. I drink darn near everything. It's Jägermeister. Too much of that in college. Can't do that anymore. And then stouts. I don't dislike stout, but I can only take like a sampler amount of it, like a shot-sized amount of it. So I prefer to taste it, not really go nuts with stouts. But everything else, I'm in. Hey, Eva. Thank you so much for coming. It's so awesome to have you here. Yes, and we can also switch to wine. That's a good advice for Jeannie and Emily if they're out of beer out there. So yes, anyway, I keep letting myself get distracted, which is, I guess, allowed, but whatever. This is the creation section of my website. So you can see some of the things I was particularly proud to feature, some stuff that I've taken recently, which has been admittedly a while since I've taken new pictures. But it's where we can find a portal into some of the things I've built in the past. And that's where I want to show and highlight this particular model. This is my modular Lego TV station. So I thought this might be fun to kind of take a peek at, walk through what I built, what was in there, and then switch back to the reality here and build something here. I actually have a couple things I wanted to build and talk about tonight, but we'll get there. Okay. Gonna pause to drink because I talk too fast, and please let me know if I'm going too fast. And for that matter, I know last time my music didn't happen at all. Do you actually hear the background music, and is the volume, if you do, is the volume okay? Can you hear me okay over top of the music? I did see the new typewriter set, and I have not ordered it yet. I absolutely will. Thank you, Ava. That is awesome. Awesome to reference. And some of those official sets are so amazing. I have a lot of them. I don't always build all of them. Lately, I mean, they're those expert creator sets. I do tend to build one. But I've also just been buying copies, which I'm very, frankly, privileged to be able to do. But I buy copies of the nicer sets. And I keep them in my parents' basement. Though I've reached a limit there. I'm not allowed to send things there anymore. But I keep sets in the basement as a future investment opportunity. Some of them have already appreciated 700%. Now, if they don't, if they collapse, that's fine. Then I just have more Lego in the future. But I'm hoping that can kind of be a future down payment on a house if you back up enough. If I store up enough. So you said the background music is very faint. Is it too faint then? Should I be cranking it up? It's 4 a.m. Well, thank you for even stopping by and for subscribing. Wow, I'm very impressed. You even made it at all. Thank you so much for coming, and have a very good night. So good. I'm glad it sounds good. Let's take a look at this TV station, huh? So this is a set I built. Geez, when did I build this? Take the pictures in 2013, so it was probably back in 2013. This is my 9th custom modular building. And for context, I'm up to about 33, 34 custom buildings now. Man, I really need to count those again. But I have a lot of custom buildings nowadays. But there's a lot that I made early on that I'm still really happy with and still very, very proud of. And this is one of them because it was a very different style for me, both in genre. This wasn't your typical sort of 1930s town setting that kind of fit into the official Lego series of sets. It was doing kind of this 70s. I don't know. That's the thought that comes to my head. Obviously, I'm not an architect, so I'm not using proper terminology for the architectural style you see present here, if there is even credibly one. But yeah, that was a very different, slightly more modern look to the building. And I did the effect that has this kind of like patterned brick look on it, this mosaic kind of look to it. That was very different, very time consuming. It required a lot of purchases. Thank you so much, Tiffy, and thank you so much for stopping by. Yeah, I hope you appreciate it. This is one that I was very proud of when I built it and how it came out. I'm very happy with it. And I didn't just build the building. It also has a helicopter and the little TV van I made. And this is kind of fun. Like a lot of the equipment is probably like more 80s based because those are the kinds of TV sets I grew up with. Lego TV sets. Yes. The television related Lego sets. They used to have a little satellite truck and they have the camera and it had like a reel-to-reel tape on the camera. And so you'll see that still in this building. But it was not just the building. It was, of course, all of the things that go with the building, like the camera truck. Now, the awkward thing is I put my chat over top of the window, so I can't see how to hit next, but I can go back. So that's one way to do it. If it's going to load for me. Come on. Come on. All right. I don't know why that's not loading, so I'm going to bring my mouse back to monitor 4 and move the chat. Move the chat there, and then we'll go back to monitor 1. Oh, that was quick. And see if I can advance it. It's like frozen. What the heck? Is it actually frozen? All right. One way to do it, you just refresh. So here's another shot in my old living room in the apartment immediately next door when I lived back there in good old 10B before coming to 10A. You can see where I built this thing. Right, it was a cool theme. I liked that they include that in the city sets. I always had one, and so I made this little TV helicopter to go along with it. So there it is on the roof of my TV station, and another angle out front. And there's a reporter on the scene at their own office filming in front. Yeah, so here's the entrance. You, of course, have a revolving door right there. Because it's a modern building, you have a revolving entrance. There's the camera dude going in. And then here's a look down at the first floor. Because, of course, like all of my modulars, the interior is fully furnished. And so down here on the first floor, and actually it looks like a little bit of the second floor too. I have a little landing there, but you have the lobby. So you have a reception person there ready to welcome you in. You have the big banner pictures of the TV personalities hanging on the wall, as well as some of the local awards they've won. Up here, this is, I think, a manager's office and dressing room, as well as a little office. And then stairwell going up. This is the elevator shaft, and you can see down into the garage where the news van is located. And we'll go on to the next picture, focusing on the lobby. There you go. So again, reception, little seating area in front of the awards, elevator entrance, stairs going up. I think there's coffee underneath the stairs here. And so you can see the banners. This took like time to find pictures that I thought were in character with the set, print them out on stickers, and then apply them to those little banners hanging down the wall. So I could have the big personalities. You'd have those on display in your lobby, of course. So there you go. Looking up close at the reception, at the awards. And then there was a little downstairs. So the stairs do go up to like a little middle second floor that's below the studio floor. So I think this building technically had 3 stories to it. And there's the coffee area. So little cups, coffee machine, mugs underneath the stairs for refreshments in the lobby. And then hallway out to where the garage is. And so if you lift off that second story that had the makeup room and the office, you can see there's a bathroom, there's a back door leading into the garage, there's the hallway, and there's another, what is this? I think like the equipment manager's office. I have like extra spare cameras ready to go out the door. And he's sitting there. Yeah, these are all spare cameras and stuff. So because it's like an equipment dude. I'm not going to claim to really know what's in a TV studio, but I like to think I guessed moderately well at what could be in there. If I ever start an individual subscription, it can be for a high-end endoscope, a high-res endoscope, which I guess would also be high-end, so that we can get in there and snake through the buildings. Of course, I have to get the buildings out of storage too. That's another deal. So there's another look at the equipment room. And so this is upstairs, the little antechamber. You come off the stairwell and you have a makeup station. I guess an editing deck. I don't really know why that's in one room. It's there. Deal with it. And then a little station manager's office behind that. Oh yeah, there. So a little makeup kit. I actually found a mirror sticker. It's an official sticker. So I can have an official mirror in there. And this is where you see those old school tiles come in with the reel-to-reel tapes. Because I'm sure they do that. It's still. Looking from outside, the little office, the tiny bookshelf. This would be really awkward to get around in, but I like that I was able to kind of cram it all in there. But this is looking at the inside of the garage when the truck's not in, so there is a wall of equipment and stuff to keep that all going. Ooh. A static display gallery entrance. Well, it depends on how big the display area is, because I can do a full city. But if we're not talking full city, then it probably is a small display, and I'll just rotate buildings in and out. So, if you want to train, I think that's a big question for the Transverse physical headquarters when that exists. Is there a full Lego display, or is it something I rotate? I guess where it's located is also an important question. All right, there's the truck barely fitting in, the satellite truck, folded in, full city. Garage door down. And then we go up a level. So this is a second physical, plopped down story. Obviously, there already are 2 stories on that first floor. So this is technically the 3rd story brought in above the overview here. And I'm sure there are more detailed pictures. Yep. So there's looking down the elevator shaft all the way from the top to the bottom. We need a train. That's awesome. And the right attitude to have. Thank you. I don't know why I took a picture of that. There you go. There's a picture of that. So this is when you come up all the way up the stairs. You get to the medium level, which has a little archway leading into that office, and you come the rest of the way up, and you have that full atrium view still overhanging over the lobby, but there's also a conference table there, so you can have some meetings and get the beautiful light, as well as a little bench outside the door to the studio, which has a little red light to show you when they're recording and when you should not go in. Which I kind of feel like I need one here, even though I'm alone. I think it'd still be cool to have a recording light that was tied in. I could put outside. All right, there's just a picture looking down. Oh, this is looking at the wall. I guess I just did a little blue because it was the TV2 blue station. Put the little blue in there. add some interest and save up some white brick. And the other end is a bookcase when you come off the elevator there. And there's the conference table suspended over the lobby. And they have a TV, of course, because you would need a TV. Maybe they're shooting, and then some execs are out there watching while they're on air. And this is the studio side of things. And this was an awkward picture to take. Admittedly, I don't know how much we'll be able to see, because once again, I crammed a ton of different details into there, and it's just tough to take pictures and angles of it. But there is an actual studio back here with angled windows with a bunch of guys and even some with headphones, and all the different screens and displays queuing up what's next and which camera is on and all kinds of good stuff like that. You of course have water for refreshments. We have 3 different cameras with 3 different angles on all of the people who are currently behind the desk, and then off to the side there's a green screen. So we will for your local weather. So we'll go in there. There's the water jug outside the office, and there's a look down into the sort of the production suite. Back there, they have all these different pieces of equipment: monitors above, monitors below, display panels. So there's from their perspective looking through into the studio, where they can talk to each other. And then there's looking. I don't know how I got the camera down in there, but there's the look across the cameras at, I think I had anchors, sports, and weather going on there. And I was very proud. I was very happy I was able to find the TV logoed minifigure tops there, so they could all be in uniform when they're in the office. And of course, they're numbered, and of course, there's the angled teleprompter there so they can read their scripts. And right now, camera 1 is active, so the light's on. And then camera 4 over here on the side is aimed at the green screen, which I think we'll see in a moment. So, man, I took lots of pictures. So, weather guy can stand up, walk right over, and boom, there is his green screen. And he can look over at these screens to see what's going on behind him and gesture appropriately at the weather. I feel like I should pull up my green screen now, but it's back over there somewhere. I'm not gonna pull that out, but there you go. This is my full TV studio. Thank you, Ava. That's very kind to say. I like to say all my buildings have bathrooms, and that is because real buildings have bathrooms. And it's a silly thing to say, but it is something that kind of took over into. And I was always frustrated as a kid with the official sets, because you'd have, buildings which have a front and no back. And there's no stairwell. There's no elevator. So I was always like, how do they get up there? How do they get down there? What's going on? Like, there was always I was always so thrown, even though of course it made sense economically why you wouldn't build those into a playset. But I was determined if I ever build my buildings, you could walk between every portion. There'd be all 4 sides. There'd be the rooms that you actually have. And I've tried to carry that over as much as possible into each of the buildings I've made. And I'm super glad people are going bonkers for those details. It makes it kind of worth it, weirdly. So here's the roof. And the roof was kind of a crazy thing to do. I don't know if you can kind of tell from these pictures, but these are bricks laid on their side, right? It's not a typical plate laid down on top of something. These are actual bricks, where it might be a wall flipped on its side and used as a roof, with the side of it being a smooth surface. So that was not something I had really done before. That was very new. You can see here there's these little angled pieces that are used to hold the roof in place, and then there's 2 parts of it that actually come together and are connect in the middle. And actually, I don't think they actually connect in the middle. It's the helipad that's holding the 2 halves together, so it can all click into one thing. Thank you, John. That's very cool to say. Yeah, so this is the helipad. You come up, the elevator comes up to the roof. You can walk these stairs on up to the helipad. The clearance is terrible. I do not think this is a safe place to land. But then it's a small town. Why do you even have a helipad on your TV station? I don't really have good answers for these things. It's a Lego TV station. It's going to have a helicopter. I had to find a place for a helipad. Over here, of course, we have the satellite dishes. and antennae, and a giant generator on the roof. You have to have an emergency generator, powering multiple things, conduits running everywhere. Here's the steps down to service the AC, or steps up to get to the helipad. And there's that's the elevator's actually on the 3rd floor. So that's you looking into the doorway at the elevator. And one cool thing with the elevator is on the back of the building, you can actually slide it up and down. So it doesn't automatically move, obviously, but you can slide it up and position it at each floor. So I liked including that detail. So here's the generators and all that kind of good stuff, and the satellite dishes, and then the front. And this was, again, a neat kind of experiment to build out TV into the brick of the display there. Yeah, and then up close look at the generator, and then this is the back of the building where you can see that elevator thing. So that little handle right there, excuse me, is attached to the elevator. And so when you lift it up, you can lift it up and then flip that little hook with a rod. I don't even know it. These things all have official names. I never remember them. But you can flip them over and then rest it on there, and the elevator will stay at that floor. Thank you, Leilani. I'm glad you appreciate it. And just think how terrible if you were a minifigure and you couldn't get to the 2nd floor, or if you're on the 2nd floor and you couldn't get down. And what if you need to go to the bathroom and there's no bathroom, or it's on a different floor? Having stairs, elevators, and bathrooms are all essential. And having them all be accessible is important. So I at least have an elevator. I might have stairs, but I at least have an elevator in the buildings. So you need to be considerate in these things. Here's the back door with your trash and your recycling. And that's another shot of the elevator shaft, apparently. And that's the elevator. So that's pulled out of the shaft. They're marveling at it. But on the back is a little hook there that sticks out. So that's, you can see how it looks, how it can hang. And now it's on the 3rd floor. And if I lift off that roof, it will still stay attached to the 3rd floor thanks to that little flip over hook. And that's not mine. That was from an official Lego set, but it was still a variation I made on it for my thing. So there's that roof piece pulled off. And there it is flipped over to kind of see how I put it together, which is, again, all of these bricks that were clipped and pieced together and then held, these two halves held in one place due to the actual helipad on the roof. And so this is showing off not only the building with other buildings, but also reinforcing that modular standard. Right? The standard that I build to is something that was officially created by Lego with their series of larger creator modular buildings. And I say modular because they come apart. You can lift off the floors and lift off the roof and see inside, but also because they can clip together. So the standard for where the sidewalk is, how far you can go back, where there are attachment points, these little holes on the side of the building, if you can see that way over to the side there, that's a part of the standard that lets you know when you build that you can clip it together. And so obviously all my buildings can clip with all of my other buildings, but when I take it to a big show, they can also clip in with everyone else's buildings. And so no matter who builds them, if you build to that standard, your buildings will go together. And so it's a nice way to be able to build out a rapid town with a bunch of people, a bunch of different contributors, without having to really coordinate outside the standard. And it's also a way, frankly, to be able to build at a reasonable clip. Otherwise, frankly, all of my dreams and ambitions were far too grand to be possible. Having the standard was a constraint that was really helpful for me to actually make it all happen. So that was really, really beneficial. All right, pausing for a sec. Ooh. So these are all the things I'll show in the future. This is my Lego post office here. And then this is in a condo and a bookstore and an IT office in one unit, one building. Even though it's two buildings, it's technically part of one construction. Cool. So that is, I think, all of the Lego building. There it was in the creation process. You can see just how intense it gets. And it's why, as much as this is fun, I realize it might be difficult to ever really build something at that scale here, because it ends up taking up so much space. And I would not be on camera as I ran back and forth across the room trying to get and search and find all the pieces I need, since I build on the fly and I don't plan ahead. It can get pretty chaotic. But that was my old living room and what the building looked like, what it was like over there. All right, this might be it because it's not letting me advance anymore. So yeah, that must be the full album. I'm just scrolling really quick because I wasn't sure if the van or the... Yeah, they're not in here, the helicopter. Just to show the TV van, I did think this was cool. So that little satellite does fold up and slide down into the truck, or it can come all the way up. And if you open it up, there is a full editing studio inside, editing suite inside the truck. So that's one of the things I can build. Those are the kinds of things that are as possible for me to build, even if they're not always possible for me to build right here. But I wanted to show you what I've done in the past so that you can have a sense of what is actually possible, and that I maybe have a little bit of that credibility and why I'm worth listening to about Legos at all. Well, there's two things I wanted to actually build tonight, and the first one is something that I know I want to build, and you might have already seen this, you probably already have it, frankly, but I still thought it might be fun to do kind of as almost a speed build thing, but also as a conversation point, and that is the... hold it together because I've already opened it. The Everyone is Awesome official Lego set for Pride that was released for Pride this year. And this, I mean, believe me, I love this. I got 6. Poor Ashley and Jessica, who were in the chat, were dragooned into buying some for me since each person's limited to 2. So I got them to buy some on my behalf. And I love it. I loved to see it. I was very excited to see that kind of to see me embraced by a product that I'm so passionate about and have been so happy for years. But it did really get me thinking about a lot of things. And in particular, the notion of rainbow capitalism. It's something that I raised on, actually, Jeannie, you spoke to a bit on your show, and that was wonderful. And thank you for speaking on it. I know it was a surprise out of the blue question. I was panicking and gave you a question. But it's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. Because I've seen so many, I would say different. I've seen so many of the same thoughts on it, understandably, in social media, and so I wanted to throw some of my own thoughts in as I build. And the reason I want to talk about the notion of companies embracing Pride and how they do it is because of my day job. And so it's probably not gone unnoticed. Behind me, the enormous, there we go, Pfizer flag I have hanging up behind me. No, we have not received a giant endorsement from Pfizer. That is there because of my day job. I often sit here when I'm doing my normal work because it's not really a huge secret, at least for people who see my social posts, that's who I work for. And obviously lately there's been a particular source of pride to work there, given what we were able to do and contribute to the crisis that humanity has faced. I think I'm happy with how we stepped up to it, and how we approached it. That our CEO was very adamant that this was just a human moment, a big thing to do, and I believe him when I've seen him speak in person on this topic. That this was something that we were prepared to throw $2 billion at and lose. And that would be nothing. And I don't say this to advocate for my company, by the way. That's a whole nother conversation to get into. The tie-in is I am involved in our Works LGBTQ colleague resource group, what's called Open. And it's something I was an ally for years. When Leilani, who's in the chat, used to be at Pfizer, used to drag me to meetings. I love that. I loved going. I loved being an ally. And then I've said I have upgraded my membership. And not only become a member, but also started to be a part of its volunteer leadership to keep it going. And in that process, I've gotten to be involved in a lot of things, including the creation of this flag. And it's had me thinking again on these topics of what it means to do rainbow capitalism, what it means to do rainbow washing, how people feel, and generally the very negative feeling they see when they see corporations adopting the rainbow or pride symbology into their own symbols and putting them out there. And it's understandable. I think I've seen a lot of negative posts as well as positive posts about this set from Lego. And the argument goes, if you're not familiar, that a lot of these companies slap a rainbow on for Pride Month so that they can get money from liberal or LGBTQ communities and ignore them the rest of the year. A very understandable and very valid critique of that behavior. And so when I say all my thoughts, it's not to in any way call that into question. I think the reflection I've been having lately, and I'm babbling, I'm gonna also start building. So we're gonna do both here. Wow, it's bright. I feel like I need to recalibrate this camera or something. It always feels like too bright and too out of focus, which it should not. It's a freaking stream cam. Why is that fuzzy? Not a problem I can solve right now. We'll come back to that. But as I start to create lots of noise and try to talk over it, you know what? I'm gonna open the bags, then go back to talking. So you can see me break out all the pieces. I'm building this copy for my office. So I already have one here at home. I'm going to take this one into my office. Since we've started to go back, not all the time, but we're allowed to go back. And so I figure maybe once or twice a month I'll go in. So I figure I might as well have a set there as well, since I have 6. So there we go. All right, it should be a little bit quieter now after I rip open the last plastic bag to be able to build and talk. So, as I was saying, all of those reactions to companies adopting the flag, the pride flag, or any other pride symbol make a ton of sense. I totally get it. I totally get the animus against that sort of behavior, particularly when it's not backed up in practice as much as it should be, or when it seems to be hypocritical in saying one thing and then doing others in terms of policy or politicians they support. So on that front, we created a pride flag at Pfizer years ago. It flew outside New York headquarters, I want to say 2 prides ago, maybe more. And it took years to get it approved, not because there was necessarily resistance, but there was a little bit angst about getting involved in any kind of statement one way or another. But the LGBTQ organization at Pfizer was the group that championed it, pushed for it, and eventually got it created. And when we adopted a new logo at the start of the year, the single largest question any of us in open leadership got was, will we have a new pride flag? Will we have the new Pfizer logo on a pride flag again? The most asked question by far within the LGBTQ community at work was, where is our new pride flag? And so that's just something that goes through my head when I hear about other companies or why they're doing it or why companies adopt it. Knowing at our company, almost all of the motivation was internal. Almost all of it came from our colleagues. Hey, thank you so much for following. Awesome, a new follower. Always awesome to have you. Thank you for joining the Transverse Network. You won't regret it, and you're gonna get lots of great content, including this show, available. So it was a good decision you just made. Anyway, on the flag. So that motivation, knowing that it was historically and once again so internally motivated, I can't help but wonder how much that's the case to other companies. And so I'm always a little bit leery at completely denouncing companies or the notion that there's some abstract Machiavellian group sort of saying, we're going to do this mwahaha It's not to say that doesn't happen, but I guess I've gotten to witness how many people genuinely want it to happen because they believe in it, or because they see themselves reflected in it, and they want to see that captured by the place that they work for. And I think seeing that layered response to it has me a little bit hesitant to do a blanket condemnation of companies adopting the pride flag. That doesn't mean that there aren't many behaviors to condemn, especially when we can see it being done cynically. But I know it's not necessarily as cut and dry as this is being done for money. I've witnessed it not be the case. And there's so many colleagues around the world, especially those of Pfizer colleagues who live in countries where it isn't safe to be out, where it's illegal to be LGBTQ. Seeing their company have a flag and have it at their headquarters is amazing. And it might be the only representation they have. It might be the only place they can ever actually admit to being LGBTQ is in the office. And so having the company reflect that and reinforce that has been an important thing for those of us within the company. And that's part of why, I guess I always have a bit of angst. And it's not defensiveness. I've been told, I don't need to defend this standpoint, and I agree with that. My point of this isn't to make a stand, isn't to make a defense, or again, it's definitely not to argue against the very clear negatives. It's just to remind, I guess, of those positives. Because frankly, if we can see companies willing to attach the rainbow to their logo, even on the cynical end, that reflects a fact that society, at least here in the US, has gotten to a point where it is profitable for them to do so, where the general opinion of the populace is such that doing that, even if it causes alienation, is still a net positive. And the fact that we can see that reflected that we can see that reflection of where society is in seeing these entities that are very risk averse do it is something that I'm very happy to see as I'm embarking on a journey that frankly sometimes is terrifying, where I've always wanted to be normal, and so it's scary not to be, and no one should feel that they have to be, and they should be very proud not to be. It still is comforting to know that barometer of where we are in society has changed to this point. And so from as much as there can be cynicism in it, as much as there can be advantages taken, where yes, Lego probably got a lot of money from selling this set, and there can justifiably be questioning of how appropriate that is. The fact that Pfizer colleague, that Lego colleague, that VP of development who was bullied and had created the set for himself and then was able to see that set be created by his company and sold, is also a pretty powerful tale and a pretty exciting one that's not always been possible. And I take happiness from that. And it's why I'll never be entirely against it. And while I still will feel awkward, I'm still going to go out and buy my different pride things, like my phone case and bags and all those other kinds of things. And I also try to balance them with donations so that whenever I do throw money at a company, I'm also throwing money at a cause, and it's not one place. Oh, I'm sorry. That was a very long speech, and I apologize. I hope no one feels comfortable about saying that, about me talking about that, because again, that's not a counter to anything I've heard or seen from anybody. Just something I've been playing over and over in my head since I requested the creation of this flag late last year. Yeah. Cool. Sorry, I'm looking at your comments now. I really got into a monologue there. Yes, I agree. I agree, Ari. If those companies are risk averse and they take that step and they get slapped down, it doesn't help for those steps to advance. Our company was issuing statements about anti-Semitism, about Juneteenth, about these other things. I feel like that's great progress. And as much as I might also, and I have done this, talk to our political action committee and express displeasure about how they do things or what politicians they give money to, those are still positive things that the company is doing. And frankly, the fact that we are willing to do them is a more powerful argument when we talk to those other groups who I think they are trying to pursue things from, I think what they see as a genuine standpoint, that we're not looking at anyone's politics, we're only looking at policy and making investment decisions based on that. And I think that's intended to be a positive, that we're only looking at it from that lens and no other lens, and that's why it's not bad. Of course, in my perspective, no, that's the problem. I don't want the policy interests to trump my personal interests and sway policy, and I prefer that no money was spent in that arena. But frankly, the fact that our company is willing to make stances and willing to make public posts make those arguments easier, and the fact that the reputation swing within at least the U.S. is such that it is an affirmative thing to back the LGBT community, reinforces that it then becomes negative not to, and helps to reinforce that progress. Seeing these things is not the end game. It's a signal that progress is being made, even as we continue to fight. And I think to what you said, Ari, that we don't want to cancel progress. We want to continue to push for more. And that's where I get a little bit antsy every time I see every pride reflection from an institution be rejected. And that's even there. That's a bold and an absolute statement that's not fair or not true. But it sometimes can feel that way, and that's at least why it's been so much on my mind. All right, I'm gonna actually build now. I really did get distracted. I couldn't properly build. And the sad thing is I've already built this once. This is the second copy I'm building, so I should be able to do this. All right, cool. I don't think I need the instructions anymore after this, because it gets very repetitive. But we will fly through it. As we fly through it, this is something I got to do for work again, but it's related to what we're doing here. Who here knows the history of the pride flag and how we even got to the progress pride flag that we have today, which you can kind of see in my background here, right there in that pillow on the floor, the progress pride flag with the chevron. I guess that was unfair of me. It's not like we're having an open conversation that you can say, I know. Because obviously I'm about to tell you some of it. But the original pride flag was actually designed by a team of people, but the primary person who was involved and the person who's most commonly associated with it is Gilbert Baker, who in 1977 to 78 designed the very first edition of the pride flag. And that flag was not the pride flag we know today. You sometimes will see people say, why should we change the flag? Why is it shifting? What's the deal with all of these new pride flags? There are always new pride flags. There are never moments when the flag wasn't being changed or wasn't changing. And the primary difference today in seeing the flags shift more aggressively or more often is modern media and the ability to share that and have others see it and then share it as well. But skipping back, the original flag was not the 6-color pride flag that we know. It was 8 stripes. There are 8 stripes in the original pride flag. And those stripes, in addition to 5 of the 6 we know, there was also an indigo stripe, a turquoise stripe, and a hot pink stripe. So that first 8-stripe flag, which started with the hot pink, every color had a specific meaning. The meaning wasn't some of the meanings that we see today, where you would see colors associated with the different identities of the trans flag or for people of color. No, these colors were based more on qualities like spirituality, sexuality. They were much more abstract for each of those original 8 colors. And it didn't last very long that there was unique meanings for the colors. Refill time. Oh, goodness. My throat was already sore, so I definitely need a lot of lubrication. All right. So they, that first flag, they made 2 copies of it, the very first pride flag. And going into, or not long after it was finished in 78, sadly was the assassination of Harvey Milk, which was a big deal. It's a big deal, period, but certainly made the news predominantly at the time to see this activist killed. And it caused a surge in popularity where suddenly a lot of people wanted that pride flag. They wanted to express their support and solidarity. And when they went to go make more, it was a challenge. And it was mostly a challenge because the company that was going to manufacture more did not have enough hot pink fabric. So almost immediately after the very first 2 copies were made, that 8-stripe flag became a 7-stripe flag. And they dropped the pink because they didn't have hot pink fabric. So suddenly 8 stripes of the official flag became the 7 stripes of the official flag. And that didn't even last a year. I believe it was in 79 that San Francisco was going to hold a Pride March. And they, of course, wanted to have this new flag featured in the march. And they wanted to have colors everywhere. And one of the ways they wanted to show colors was to have banners on either side of the street. So as people were marching down on the lampposts, you could have banners hanging down. Sorry, I'm hitting the mic. You have banners hanging down. That's right, Ari. You always, and now we know. Back then they didn't know they needed more hot pink. Now we can be prepared to have more hot pink. And we brought it back. We brought it back with or at least light pink, with the Progress flag. Yeah, so the San Francisco Pride Parade wanted to have these banners going down the street on either side. And they wanted to do it with some colors on one side and the rest of the colors on the other side. And so you can't really do 3.5 stripes here, 3.5 stripes here. You can only do it with an even number, 3 and 3. And so almost immediately, right after going from 8 to 7, 7 was changed to 6. They combined indigo and turquoise together into royal blue, and that's where we finally had a 6-stripe rainbow flag that we have come to associate with LGBTQ in general. So when people say there are unique meanings for the colors, there aren't really anymore. That really kind of went away following those first 2 iterations, and specific meanings for specific colors didn't really come back until 2017. No, and I say that when I say coming back, there are many other instances. These are some of the more popular things that kind of have more prevalently been seen in public. And the next most popular flag was what was known as the Philadelphia Pride flag. And that came about in 2017. There were a number of issues in gay bars in Philadelphia, in Center City, racial issues, where there were places that people might say, oh, well, this is my preference. I prefer Asian men, or I prefer black men, or Caucasian. Like there's a whole bunch of different preferences being expressed by different people, and unfortunately that got translated into who was allowed in what place. Right? It became, oh, this bar is for these kinds of people, which deeply problematic and caused a number of issues. And so those racial tensions and being kind of the sort of almost, I think for many, almost a shocking revelation that a community that could be so biased against could have bias itself, which in many ways is obvious. I think a number of trans people know how long, just watch the TV show Pose, how long trans people weren't allowed in gay bars. There's always different angles of discrimination. And what came to the fore there in Philadelphia was that there was a problem within the gay scene around race. And in part to address it, in addition to a bunch of other things, the city of Philadelphia commissioned an agency, a design agency, to create a new version of the pride flag. And so what they developed was what was known as the Philadelphia Pride flag, which added the black and brown stripes to represent people of color and represent the issues in particular that are faced by members of the LGBTQ community who are black and brown skinned, and how that needed to be drawn, how we needed to draw attention to the unique issues that they face and biases they face within the community. And there's been many other versions of the pride flag in the years before, but that one certainly resonated with a lot of communities and was able to be carried very far on social media. And so suddenly that flag became one of the most popular pride flags. And with that fresh in mind, an artist known as Daniel Quasar in 2019 created another version of the flag. Again, thinking of what kind of issues are being faced, and that it's not just people's sexual identity, and it's not just the color of their skin, it's also their gender identity. And that was an aspect that all too often got minimized in a number of LGBTQ communities. And we can see that today in a lot of places. For me, a friend of mine is the LGB Alliance in England. It used to be a problem with Stonewall, which was one of the major UK LGBTQ organizations. To their credit, Stonewall recognized and apologized for not properly being considerate of issues facing the trans community. And so I think it's fair to say, without a ton of direct knowledge, that they've kind of turned themselves around in being more appropriately representative of the entire LGBTQ community. But the LGB Alliance, if I'm remembering that name correctly, is very anti-trans, and has actually been influential in getting legislation on the table, at least in the UK. And again, people don't necessarily think about that, because you think on supporting the gay community. For a lot of people, there's an assumption that you're supporting the entire LGBTQ community, and yet unfortunately there are groups that still can try to section off gender identity from sexual preference, despite the fact that gender is clearly deeply influential, whether you're non-binary or not, to sexual preference. But they still try to section it off and unfortunately diminish or actively discriminate against the trans community. And so with all of that in mind, we had the creation of what we know as the Progress Pride flag. And that is, again, looking back behind me on the floor there, that pillow, and it's actually, is representative of the Progress flag, which has the 6 colors of the more standard LGBTQ flag, the sort of what was seen as the gay pride flag, overlaid with black and brown stripes for people of color again, as well as the colors of the trans flag, with the chevron indicating forward progress, that progress is continuing within the LGBTQ community. That flag, just like the Philadelphia flag for it, became extremely popular on social media, and now is one of the most prevalent pride flags in the world. So that's a lot of where that comes from. That's why we were key. Including the chevron was difficult, but we still made sure we include the colors of the Progress Pride flag in Pfizer's Pride flag when we created it. And there's my second long monologue while building. Maybe my voice gets gravelly as I talk. It can be tough to re-listen to these recordings afterwards. Vocal dysphoria is a thing. Plus, I just have performance frustrations where I'm always like, oh, you're talking too fast. You're saying too much. Yada, yada, yada. All right. So, as you can see, I got the base done, where all the little figurines will go. And then the back here becomes extremely repetitive. So I'm going to see how quickly I can try to do this. The key I found is to try to do 2 pieces at once wherever possible. It can be tough, especially on a dark background where some of the pieces are dark and I can't always see them. But to try to use both hands and be regularly adding pieces on. If I can do that, then I can feel confident I am moving as quick as I can in building this set. And it's kind of interesting how they alternated these pieces for support, to have these long bridging pieces and then put the 2x3 bricks on top for added stability. So this sucker is not going to break very easily. You can probably push it back pretty easily, but side to side, it's not going to just flop apart. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you both, Eva and Ari, for saying that. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. This is a blast. I have a lot of fun doing it. But I still hear those things, and it can bug me. For some of the context on that, I did a lot of theater in high school. I was in every theatrical production we did, musical or play, in high school, and some in middle school before that, and loved them. It's been a long time since I've done that, but that was a huge part of my background. And then I also was in a group called the North Star Kids, and that was a blast. That was something I did in Pittsburgh when which is where I was born and where I grew up until middle school. The North Star Kids it wasn't a professional group. We did get money, but we never got paid as members. We actually funded the North Star Troop, which was the adult group, who, as far as I know, never made any money. But the North Star Kids, we would get all kinds of different gigs. And it was a blast. So I got to sing the national anthem at a Pirates game. I got to do the pre-game show at a Steelers, Christmas pre-game show at a Steelers game, which is freezing. I was in the Children's Hospital Bundle Up Telethon, where I got to hold up numbers as we were raising money for the Children's Hospital. That was a lot of fun. And the Celebrate the Seasons parade. So I would do all of those different things. So, all right, am I a... Yes! Torben remembers the glove and jazz hands. We had bright, shiny red outfits, bright white pants, white shoes, and white gloves. And we would do jazz hands for the North Star Kids. I guess I'm a Steelers fan by birth. I've never really cared a ton about sports. I love going to sporting events, mostly because of the food and drink and the company. They are a blast. I enjoy going to them. I do not follow sports on my own outside of it. So by birth, I am a Penguins, Pirates, Steelers fan. Especially Penguins, because when I was in elementary school, that was the back-to-back Stanley Cup. We were kicking it back then. I went to Penn State, so I'm also obligated to be a Penn State fan, even though I've never done anything else. And sorry, Torben, I hope that does not hurt your feelings as a fellow Penn Stater to hear that. But I can't. I'm happy when they win. I don't really care the rest of the time. But doing the pregame show was awesome. Hey, Stay Nene, thank you. Or Slay Nene, thank you for subscribing. You just made a good decision. And hey there. It's great because I see the username. I don't actually know who that is. I don't think I know who that is, but it's awesome to have you. And thank you so much for being here. I completely lost whatever track I was on because of the awesome follow that someone just made. And thank you for it. That is worth having your concentration broken for it right there. You say that, Ava. About keeping your mouth shut on sports. So my first job after college was working for a company called Cardinal Health. A lot of people don't know about Cardinal Health. Yeah, it's you. I'm glad to have you. Glad you're here. My first job was with Cardinal Health. It's an enormous company that no one's ever heard of. Some 90 billion in revenue. 91 billion now. It wasn't as big when I started there, but it was still many, many tens of billions. And we did go to that's what I mean, Leilani. I loved going to the US Open, not because I was necessarily passionate about tennis, because I was there with you and we were drinking a lot. That was a blast. I love that. It was fascinating and fun to watch. I just would not have known who any of those people were or cared later on. But anyway, going to Cardinal Health, my first day at work. After being an intern, I'm now a full-time employee. I'm walking into the front desk, and I go to check in, and the security guards all stop me, and they asked me where I went to school, and I told them Penn State, and I got a lot of guff. They were all Ohio State people. They were not going to let me in, and then I said, hey, wait, I hate Michigan. They're like, okay, well, you can go on in. Now, I do not actually, I want to be very clear here. I do not actually hate Michigan. I have almost no feelings about the state. I'm sure it's quite pleasant. I've heard good things about Ann Arbor. I don't know anything about it. I don't actually hate Michigan, but I knew from what I had heard, that as a Penn Stater and as an Ohio Stater, even though I didn't go to Ohio State, I was supposed to hate Michigan. And so that turned out to be a very nice, easy pass to get through security, is to express a hate I did not actually feel for Michigan. So there you go. University of, I'm not, all right, we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there. All right. So we're actually pretty high up on this. I don't know if any of you have noticed, but amongst all the pieces I have out here, the pile is smaller, and I'm out of these 2x3 bricks, which means we are near the end. And pardon the beer burp. So I'm flipping through just to make sure I don't screw anything up on this last step. Great. Okay. Okay. So this time we do a brick and a plate. If you remember your past Lego education, a brick is this. It's the thick piece we all know and love. This is a 1x2 brick. This is a 1x2 plate. 3 plates add up to a brick, and so they all help you clip them together. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad you like my hair. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Thank you. All right, I'm going to need to know who that is at some point. No, there's no pressure. You don't have to say anything in the chat, but I do love that, and thank you for saying that. And glad to have you here. Hey, Mish. Thank you for popping by. Oh, Upper Peninsula. I thought you were doing something about University of Pennsylvania, and I'm like, I don't know. Okay, go into that. It's awesome to have everyone here because, as we know from the name of the set, everyone is awesome. Okay. So, as you can see here, I'm doing the brick and plates. And that's because there's a little curved piece that's going to sit on top of these. And we're then plopping in the minifigures, and we are going to be done with this set, and we can do the other thing I was thinking about building for kind of the second half, which I hope we can do smoothly. This actually went a little bit faster than I was thinking. That's okay. I am not going to sing the song as much as I used to do choir. I have obviously not done all the voice work I want to do, especially from a singing perspective. So you will not hear me singing Everyone is Awesome, either the first movie or second movie version. But I do like them. You live on. All right, not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. All right. So I thought this was kind of clever how they did the top. So these curved pieces here, then they have these little arched pieces, 1x4 arch pieces, so that they can have no gap. You can clip that on there, and that arch fits right over top of that arch, and boom, all set. You have a nice little collected thing there. Cool. Oh, I think I now know who Slay Nene is. And the Nene, that makes sense. So awesome to have you here. Now I feel like I can't say your name, like it's not allowed, because you're being so craftily anonymous. It's a whole new living room now. I moved into the apartment next door, so should you make it back out here once more, you will have even more space. You might even be here in the Lego room on the inflatable mattress. It's the same inflatable mattress, but more rooms. That's the key. All right. So we are nearing the end of this set. Now I think I did do this slower than the first time. The first time I built the set, I did it in 21 minutes from taking it off the doorstep to being done with it. And I still felt like I was slipping. I felt like I could have done it faster because it is a very repetitive set once you get going. Ah, wrong hands. There we go. I forget if you got to meet Leilani, Naomi. I don't know if that happened. All right, so there's the base. Now we pop on the last little smooth plates here. Boom, boom. And soon enough, everyone will be awesome on our finished set. By the way, I hope you were able to see that. I kind of forget sometimes and drift out. Also, it's getting remarkably warm. I'm like, hair's getting sweaty. All right. So the figures here, I thought it was pretty clever how they approached them, but there's the trans feminine character right there. Awesome, awesome. Glad you have a better memory than I do, Leilani. My apologies. We have white, and I don't know if everyone knows this. This is something I learned myself in preparing. You basically got to hear a repeat of the video I did for work on the meeting of the pride flag there earlier. But white is for non-binary, gender non-conforming, questioning, or transitioning, which I thought was pretty cool that that had that specific meaning. We know the trans femme and trans masculine. I don't think I had been cognizant myself of the meaning of the white, and so I thought this was also kind of a nice little non-binary character they have there. And then we have the trans masculine figurine that we can plop on. And then amongst the other colors, I thought they had some nice queer representation without necessarily being particularly specific. I almost feel like this is kind of like a bit of a beehive drag look with purple. And perhaps a drag king, or at least someone with one heck of a... I don't even know what that word would be for that hairstyle, but the Elvis-like hairstyle. But there's royal blue, which used to be indigo and violet, or indigo and turquoise. We have this green figurine, kind of traditional feminine-looking person. And we have yellow, which I feel like is a... I don't know. We have the yellow. Pompadour. Thank you. Yes. All right. We have more of a sporty look with the orange character there. Spike-haired red dude. And I like the attention to detail even in hair representation, which if you watch a John Oliver episode on hair, was very cool, and it's nice to see kind of reflected in the Lego figurines for the stripes representing people of color. So we have those as well. And there it is, the full Everyone is Awesome set. So if you do not have it yourself, or did not able to get it, or do not want to get it for whatever reason, which is totally cool, you now have the experience of kind of almost building it. There you go. All right. So that was a good run. I'm going to briefly pause. I'm going to turn the AC to make it a little bit cooler. I'm going to have a bit more to drink, and then we're going to get going to step 2, which is related to what you see right there. Be right back. Those are some awesome lines in the chat as they come back. Yeah, I totally almost spelled that. Touche, everyone. And yes, that bathing suit was amazing, Ari, and a good deal. Very impressive. I'm very proud of the shopping abilities demonstrated in that deal. Quick check, because I turned my AC to 72 degrees and high. Do you hear it? Is there any humming in the background? Because I can adjust that. I just want to see if you can hear it. And I love your effort, Emily. You can hear it lots, so I should turn it down, is what you're saying. Wait, enviously of the AC or envious of the colors? Sorry. I realize I'm asking things amidst another conversation. She's the best. Well, still, I will turn the AC down a little bit because I do not have to necessarily have it on high. I also close the door, so hopefully that will amplify it. Okay, back to low, so hopefully a little easier to hear now. More reading units up. All right, cool. So let's continue. Oh well, now you tell me. All right, it's okay. Hopefully it does sound better. It's more important that you hear than that I say cool. I'll have a whole night to get the AC going. So one thing I thought I would do, and partly because it would be a little bit more limited measure, and because I knew I wanted to do these other things, is maybe, hey Danny, is maybe do a little bit of work on my custom town hall. So it's something I've had sitting beside me the entire quarantine. I had sitting on my kitchen table for about a year before that. It's something that I've been meaning to finish for ages. I always get bogged down on the interiors of my buildings, I think because they're not quite as exciting for me to build, but I don't consider the build done until I do the interior, which means I have like 4 half-completed buildings sitting around. And so I'd love to get this town hall done, not only because I want that achieved, and as cool as it is to have around, I could use the space, so I can put it into storage and free up some space for some other things. So I thought we would try to build out some more of my town hall. So I try to talk. All right. Which screen do I want? I want the mobile screen. So this is where you would usually see the town hall. It used to be over here off to my side, and this is the park that goes in front of it. I can't even claim that the park is done. I feel like there's more I want to do there. But the town hall is not there because I moved it. The town hall is right here beside me. So here is, we're going to go on a little tour. I have to adjust the little tripod here. So this is my beer in the town hall. And I'm going to open this sucker up, and we are going to go in, and we're going to try to finish off, here's my elbow, finish off the first floor, get that sucker done. And so here I could focus on this for a little bit, bring the pieces over, and then build it right here in front of me again. We'll see how well this works. You can also see in the background my surface. I can't remember the name of anything. My memory is terrible. Ashley can contest, and Jessica can attest to this, how terrible my memory is sometimes. But that's a fun first generation Surface all-in-one computer, which slides down and turns into a drawing surface. It's a really cool computer. I got it honestly just because it was really fun. Whatever. It does kind of look a little onion-like, doesn't it? A little that orthodox look. this does come off. And so we can look at it up close. So here is that top, the copula or whatever. I do have a little figure on there. Little statue on top there. Surface Studio. Thank you, Studio. I know what profession you're in. But yeah, so here's the top of the building. So I was pretty happy with how this came out, and I got to use these gold pieces for that roof. So that does lift off there. And then not only does that lift off, the entire roof lifts off. So we will put this, we will move the lid. Everyone is awesome. I'll put the roof over here. And right. So this whole monolith does break up into lots of different sections, and those sections are designed to still conform with that modular standard. So you can slide the buildings off to the side, front. It's a little tougher to do. There we go. Oh, this came off. But ta-da! The building opens up, and I'm going to bring these over so to show you, what is there, and then we'll go to work on some of it. So you start, of course, with the entrance. So this is the entrance and the flowers that refuse to stay on of the building. And I've thrown some things on here. I don't remember why. Oh, these are things to put into the mayor's office. A little camera, a briefcase, a gold key to the city. Those are all I'm like, remember to use these. And I just threw them on the balcony there. But there is the entrance to to the town hall. That was, I feel like, I don't know what that was just desserts for, but I feel like I just got my just desserts served to me. So here is, sorry, watching the delayed reaction is pretty awesome. Thank you for your concern, Emily. Thankfully it stayed together. The modulars are relatively robust, but you can see the entrance. Now, I also want to put in a little bit more stained glass. This isn't even sort of tightly connected. I want to do a stained glass effect so you can push lights onto this as well as do arches in the sides. So I want to, that will be a little stained glass effect above the front door. But otherwise you have the entrance and the start of the kind of the parquet floor and the interior of the lobby. Upstairs, that balcony that goes above it will go into the mayor's office. So I've not done any of the interior of the mayor's office. So this is all pretty blank because I haven't done anything on the second floor yet. That's that entryway. And let's go into the heart of the building. Wasn't as badly misaligned as I thought. So let's grab the center. Sound effects are key. Oh, before I bring it over, I want to turn around and show the back now. So I'm actually really, really happy with the back of this building. Oh, I understand, Naomi. Thank you so much for stopping by, and have a wonderful day at work. Oh, no worries. Go get that project done, and thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out, Mari. It was awesome to have you. Cool. So, wait, it got downgraded? Wait, Jeannie, I need to understand why it got downgraded from ridiculously good to just good. What component is missing to get me back up to ridiculously good? If it's not finished, that's not fair because it's not finished. All right, well, we can come back to that. So this is the back of the building. I was just really happy with how this curve came out. I think that effect is pretty neat. And it's not something I've done a lot of, to do that curve. Oh. Oh, no worries. You are allowed to be sleepy, San, but thank you. Sorry for the cough. Thank you so much for stopping by. It was so great to have you. And it's understandable if you're sleepy and need to take a break. Please do. Take care. Okay. We have arrived with the back of the building. Sorry, in the center of the building, really. So this sucker is the core of the office. You can see the back of the mayor's office, a little reception area, hall, stairwell. There's a balcony here over top of the main chamber. We're gonna lift all of this off. And get into the body of the building, right? So this is, and as we're doing this, I can do different angles here. So here is right behind that front entrance. So that parquet floor matches up with that parquet floor. There's a little gold seal right before the reception desk. A little swivel chair there. I had this cool little pattern I thought put in there. And of course, a clock over the entryway. And then 2 open doorways that lead into the council chamber. As well as stairwells off to the left and right going up the stairs. So you can kind of see stairwell. So there's the entryway. So I really liked that. I really liked how the floor came out in particular on that entryway. It can be a lot, that's for sure. And that's actually why, again, the interior tends to be where I bog down in building these things. The other side here, though, is the council chamber. And I hope I'm not too unsteady here with my hand holding over top. But I liked how I was able to create kind of an amphitheater effect with the chairs here, looking down and over the main stairwell. I'm sorry, the main floor. But yeah, you enter into the chamber. You can go down these steps, down these tiered things in the auditorium, down to where the council people would sit. And so I was kind of thinking of Parks and Rec when I did this a bit. That table that the town council sat behind. There's microphones on either side for people to come down and state their case to the council. And on the side, little gold balconies. And you'll see the parts, the wings that come on the side, and that's what we're going to work on, are the wings that come off of that floor. But yeah, this is the chamber. It's a little more steady view. Yeah, so I was really happy with this came out. So the bottom middle of the building, basically done. I'll add a couple things to the reception desk, but really, this part of the building is pretty much done. Still need to finish the second floor of it. Even now, that curve coming apart. Thank you, Jeannie. That made my night. I'm so glad that had that effect on Emily. Though I'm sorry for the popcorn, or any popcorn lost in the presentation of this show. That's a tragedy. All right, so we have the core of the building, first part of it kind of done. So we are going to focus on the sides. And here is one such side. So again, we have the second story that isn't finished. This has what will be an office. So you come up the rest of the stairwell from the lobby. There's a little hallway here, and you can walk into an office. And so this will be one of the offices. There's another one on the other side of the building. Or you can go down the hall to the reception area to the mayor's office. Man, all right. Taking off the second floor. I'm going to move the first floor back over too. Cheers, Prost, Sláinte, all of it. So this is that side. So if you remember the floor of the town council chamber is here. And so there's a couple chairs right in front of this balcony, and then there's this little balustrade here and this archway that leads you off onto this little side room. And the side room has a few things in it. We not only have that little side space. I'm shocked at how much more detailed my phone is than the frickin' Logitech Stream Cam. This can't be set up right. It's that fuzzy. Anyway, this little side space, and you'll see a little opaque door there, underneath the stairwell, and that door is going into the bathroom. So we have bathrooms on both sides of the building underneath the stairs there. See little flowers, little toilet, little sink. Boom. There's an any gender bathroom on both sides of the main floor, right off of the council chamber. So you go into the chamber, off to the wing, into the bathroom. So the space before that is the space that I'd like to finish off. And what I'm thinking is two things. I'm thinking one side would be refreshments, right? You are in for a grueling day of citizenry making outlandish claims about the water in the park being tainted or what have you, and so you need to put up with all their commentary, and so you're going to want refreshments. So I think on one side would be refreshments, and I think on the other side, and let me bring over that other side. This is the other wing from the other side of the office. Would be where you'd have some TV cameras set up. So maybe this is a big day, and while they might want to watch the streamed cam over the local public access channel, maybe some of the networks want to set up. They want to have some of their cameras in person as well, and so you might have those on one of these sides too. So again, same matching side with the bathroom there. I just want to note the bottom of these windows are blacked out for privacy. So yeah, again, you can't just do bathrooms willy-nilly. You have to do this logically. Water is yucky. This is why I drink all Diet Coke and beer. I don't really drink all Diet Coke beer. I also drink wine and cocktails. All right. Now we want to do one of these as refreshments, one of these as cameras. So, and 5-hour energy. Touche, Ashley. Touche. Yes, I do. I feel like I've done good well lately. I've only twice had 5-hour energy in the last few months. I've been doing better, I think is the message to take away. Ooh, Mondavi wine drinking and classy. You know, I know I should drink more. When I was very little growing up, I found out that I had a very, very, very slight allergy to milk, and I used that as an excuse not to drink milk. It was kind of BS. Sorry, my hair is bugging me. But I got carried away with it and tried to not drink milk when I could, and my excuse was, well, I'm allergic. The allergy was so slight, it was not meaningful, but I kind of got away with it. The problem is I got in a bad habit, and now I don't drink enough. What is going on with this? What is that? What is that? All right, hold on. So is the wine unrefined, or is drinking the wine unrefined? I think that's the question I want to understand. Just jumping randomly into that wine conversation, Emily. Sorry. Interesting. All right, this is good to avoid. It's good to know that and be able to steer clear of an unsatisfactory wine. Those are important discoveries. Those are good things to know. All right. Oh! I forgot about my shirt. I don't think I wore this on stream before. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I did. The only time would have been the first show right after vacation. But I am wearing my Lego lobster shirt. Speaking of no refinement, as I shove my chest in the camera. No, I wasn't joking about the Diet Coke. This is a lobster shirt, which I bought in Provincetown, Massachusetts, while on vacation with Jessica and Ashley. And it is a lobster made out of Lego bricks. And is now my journey to also build this in real life. I'm just realizing that right now as I'm looking at it. Of course I need to build this lobster. That's going to happen. Alright. Just had to show that off real quick. I'm Jess. Just Jess. See, Jessica thought she was Jess, and then I came along, and I aggressively enforced everyone calling her Jessica and me Jess. Very unfairly. I do feel guilt about this, but I think I managed to successfully make her be Jessica, and make myself be Jess. I will accept Jessica. I will accept her being called Jess. There she is. But I think I've managed to drum it into everyone, and I think she kind of resignedly just gave up, I think. So, exactly what it was, Jeannie. I say that with all the love in the world, and like I said, a fair amount of guilt. But there you go. Okay, we're here for Legos, I think. At least a bit. So, what do we do here? We have two buildings, 2 branches, 2 wings of the building. One of them refreshments. One of them cameras. Now, do you say cameras here? Do you say refreshments here? Or vice versa? Also, note the extra progress bracelet, also purchased in Provincetown. What do you think? What do you people want? Where do you want the cameras to go? Where do you want the refreshments to go? And while you ponder that and tell me in the chat, I wanted to show off my meters because I was very proud of these. Excuse me. I made little tiny meters, which to my knowledge have never been done on Lego. I think this is my design. I think. It's possible I'm stealing this, but I don't think I'm stealing this. I think this is mine. Little meters, little glass insert on top with a display, and you can put in your money and you can do it. You can park your car, and I have a single and a double. So I was very proud of my little meters there. Okay. So instead both, I don't know if I'm going to have the TV crews and the refreshments on the same side. I mean, think about it. You're there. You're in a town council meeting. You're already kind of terrified that you're going to go up and speak in front of the town council. And there's a TV crew there. Do you really want to walk beside them? I don't think so. I think that's intimidating. I think you want to go on the other side as refreshments. All right, we have both refreshments. There's only so many donuts you can expect to have at a town council meeting. Maybe a couple crullers, but I don't think we're looking at 2 wings worth of food. I think we're looking at 1 wing worth of food. All right, I feel like this is apparently a more concerning and critical question than perhaps I realized. I don't mean to create any angst or anxiety in seeking out a choice here on which side is refreshments and which side is cameras. I can pick if that's too much load. How are you doing with this? Does anyone feel strongly on this subject matter? Okay, all the donuts, but also cinnamon rolls on the left. I like to cut your jib, Danny. We have a strong, authoritative decision. Refreshments on the left, which means cameras on the right. All right. Let's do it. Let's make that happen. Okay. So, if this side is going to be refreshments, then what do I need? I need the refreshments themselves. I need a table for them to go on. We probably want some drinks, right? We want coffee, water. And that's probably it. I think that's all we need. And we need a floor that they will sit on. There's a poll in chat. Ooh, I don't know how to do that. How do we do a poll in chat? Did you put a poll in the chat? I see it. I see the current poll. Oh, and it's taken down. All right, awesome. Thank you. This is amazing. And we are breaking technological barriers. While you do that, I'm going to go get the snacks. Not for me, but for the Lego people. Jeez. So when I sat down there, I think I broke part of my Lego building. I did break it. That was catastrophic. I forgot this was hanging out here, so when I sat down in the chair, it hit the roof, which sticks out farther than it usually does, and I knocked off the little cheese wedge, the gray cheese wedge pieces from the front of the roof, which was sitting beside me. Luckily, easy to fix, not a bad break. I just will need to find the other cheese wedge pieces. Okay. You know, the first one, nothing even broke off. Second one, couple cheese wedges. These are handleable mistakes. I feel not as disastrous as it could have been. I just jinxed it. Why did I do that? All right. Left, 75%. That's overwhelming, people. That is overwhelming. Good call, Danny. Wow. For that quarter of you who did not agree, I hope you will not be too upset. I hope you'll bear with. Okay. So these are all, not all, these are what I've been able to find and sort out of different printed Lego pieces. Apologies, my throat is getting sore. So, I have all kinds of different little printed pieces, and should be in here some food items as well, which I thought would be appropriate for our display. So I have... Oh, come on. A little tiny brick cola can. If you can make that out. So a little can of soda there. I got a couple of those. And then now these are other snacks, but those aren't snacks I think appropriate for an office, so I'm not going to use those. Ooh, oh, okay. All right, here we go. I have a Brickin' Donuts and a crispy tiles. So these can be our donut boxes. We can have donut boxes there to put out there. I did find something. You know, I was never searching for it, but I'm so glad that I found it. That we found a rhyme with Ricola. That's awesome. All right, what else is in here? For food, pizza. A lot of these are pizza. Jeez. Yeah, Bricchino's pizza. Brick-a-Hut. There's a lot of choices, but we're not going to do pizza. This isn't that kind of meeting. You can't expect things to stay warm. We need things that can last. Oh, that's good. I'm glad it was an easy bug. That's always nice when you can fix something quickly. I can, it's not programming. It's all front-end stuff or content stuff, but I can still really relate to when something can be fixed blissfully quick. All of our stuff is, we find out that there's an error on Pfizer.com and it's been out there probably for years, and then we discover it and we have to fix it. And it's always a little bit of a panic. And then I ask the team to do it, and they do it. Or I do it myself. What am I looking for? I was looking for other... So there used to be these official Lego tiles that were for like donuts and cookies and things. I know I have a lot of them, and the problem is I'm not sure if they're actually in this container of printed tiles. So I'm not seeing them at a glance here. So we might have to do without. So I apologize in advance if our food display is not quite as elaborate as you might come to expect from me. That is me laying you down, and I apologize. I want to make sure you can see the top of my head in the camera. Okay. I'm going to call it at this point. I do not see any other donuts. You're going to use other things. Pizza is better cold. I'm sorry, Pickles. You're an awesome person. I've seen you in chat before. You're wonderful. I'm not with you on this one. You've lost me right there. You've lost me with cold pizza. I don't... I know people like it. I get it. In as much as I can accept people have insane choices that they've made, but I'm just not, I'm not there. I'm not there. We're gonna let this slide, but just this time. Okay, so we're gonna build. Danny, you were there with the left side for refreshments, and then you've gone the way of the cold pizza. I don't know what to do with that. We're just gonna push forward. Okay, so we have a couple cans of soda. We have a couple things of donuts, but these aren't even boxes. These are like lids, right? You can't put a donut in that little thing. It needs to be thicker. So you're gonna bring over a large bin of Legos. We are gonna root around for pieces, and in the remaining 13 minutes, we're gonna see how much of the refreshment stand we can build using a random box of parts. By the way, I'm just observing in myself. I like the loose, free form of this all, but I'm recognizing probably is because I've had chips and dip today, and then a beer and a half. I apologize. I hope it's not too disorganized. All right, let me get the Lego box and bring it over here, and we'll get in there. Thank you, Ari. I appreciate your support. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I just re-broke the roof. This is not a safe place to put the roof. I'm gonna move the roof. So part of the problem is I put a folding table here to my right, which isn't usually here, to have the, the whole... All right, apparently that camera's not working. We'll come back to me. To have the whole town hall to my side. Unfortunately, that meant less room for the chair here, so I keep running into the roof, which used to be right here. Now it has been moved for its own safety to behind me, and we can get back to looking for pieces. So we want to find some pieces to put underneath those covers to make the boxes of donuts thick enough, but not so ridiculously thick that it won't fit together. I'm pineapple and jalapenos on your pizza. I think chat, you're on your own. All right. I don't even know what's happening. Okay. Ooh, this is handy. So I have a little bag of 1x2 or 2x2 plates, which will be handy. This is not a good place to put these parts. I'm going to put them beside me. So that I can actually build. There we go. That'll work. Alright, so I think if I do 2 plates plus this, I think that's a reasonable size donut box. Wow, that's bright. But hopefully you can see. I think that's a reasonable thickness. You open that up, there's donuts inside. I think that's a decent size. And then we can have a couple orange ones for our Brick and Donuts box. Boom. So now we have a couple cans of soda. We have donut boxes. At least a couple open ones. I can also maybe do some, oh sorry, closed boxes. We can maybe do some open ones here. And then what I'm thinking, I put back these little 2x2 plates that I precipitously dumped out because I'm slightly buzzed. I am going to get some tiles. So tiles are pieces that have a smooth top, a smooth surface to them. I've been hoping to find smooth surface tiles that were printed to look like food, to look like cookies and donuts. Could not find those, so we're just going to go with some plain colors and pretend that they are printed. So here we have a whole bunch of different colors. And I'm hoping in here we'll find some round pieces that will look suitably donut-like. At the moment, I only see square pieces. Rounded pieces are admittedly more rare, or they're bigger. It's a 2x2. I want a 1x1 rounded piece. Ooh. That's one problem with how this can go sometimes. So this is a color of, like, this is a collection of random colored tiles. These are things that I have less of these colors, and so instead of making them in separate bins, I put them all together in one bin because I didn't have enough to justify having a separate bin just of this color. But they're also really hard to find pieces then because they're super tiny and they drop to the bottom. And you always want the tiny pieces, and so the tiny pieces are always at the bottom. But thank you so much, Danny. I know I can go a little obsessive, but especially with all of you watching, I almost feel like I especially have to. Like I can't go short shrift on this. I need to do it right. So many eyeballs. All right, but here I'm starting to find these little 1x1 rounded pieces that we've been looking for. And so now I can actually start to, like, if this is a closed box, then this is maybe an open box, and I can put these on there, and there's like a strawberry, and there's a Halloween one or something. Like I can put these little pieces on there, and now they feel like they're actual donuts in that open box. That's the theory, at least. Hopefully it looks like that. So we can do a couple more of those. Here's white. Goodness. So white tiles, unlike these miscellaneous, I have a lot of, and I use a lot of, so I have a whole bin just of white tiles. I have an even bigger box in there of my Lego closet of just 1x8 white tile. A huge box of it I got from Lego Direct years ago. Let's do some white frosted donuts. There we go. Boom. this is a little awkward when I'm just like rooting around for pieces while you're sitting there watching me. Ashley was very adamant, Gotham City Girl, who's in the chat sometimes, is very adamant that I need to have all my pieces set out in advance. And she is very right, because she's right basically about everything. But I'm not that organized, so I did not do that. So apologies, you got the end result, which is watching the top of my head while I root around for pieces. All right, are there even any more to find? I don't see any. Oh, there's one. All right. Ha. Crackers. Ha. All right, so we're gonna do this one. There's 2 white vanilla on that one. Let's see the yellow there. And let's see if there's like one last. Ooh, lime green. Bloody hell. I meant to say dark orange. All right, close enough. There we go. We officially have our donuts, 2 boxes of Brickin' Donuts and 2 boxes of Krispy Kreme, 2 cans of soda. Awesome, I think we're set. Wait, all right, I feel like I missed a lot in the chat because there's fire happening. Hungry now, bangers and mash. I had bangers and mash once when I was in the UK. I stayed abroad for a semester in London. Lived in Colindale, right outside Hendon, and worked in Parliament, actually, and in Labour Party headquarters. But I was not a huge fan of the food. I lost 15 pounds while I stayed abroad. Fish and chips, though. I was all in on that. That was great. But glad you made a good dinner, Emily. That was very kind of you. And Jeannie, I hope the food on fire was good. I hope that was tasty. All right, so a place to put the food. That's probably important, right? You want a place to eat. Now, I can put food I can put food directly on a table. I can put the table directly on the floor, but I probably want the floor to be done, right? So I think a good question is, how is this room filling out? What is there on the wall, and then what do I do with the floor so that it looks nice? Excuse me. It's my bad for not drinking more. I do probably want to do a little bit with the floor, because it's going to be a pain in the butt to put down the floor after I put in furniture. So that might be, you know what? Look at the time. This might be it. You got to see me do an official Lego set, which was easy to do because I had instructions, and you got to see me talk about a building and put together 2 pieces of food. I can't claim this is the high watermark for my custom Lego building, but it was enjoyable. So we might call it here. And I think maybe over my next couple streams, though, we will finish this building. You will see, and the core of the episode will be me actually building out these sections. I promise. If you're willing to return, you will see actual construction done on a custom Lego creation. But it is 11:59, which means it's almost tomorrow, at least for those of us here on the East Coast, and therefore it's perhaps time to call it a night. Thank you so much to everyone who came by. It was so awesome to see you. It was so fun to laugh and chat with you, and it means so much that you're here and that you're willing to hang around and stay, especially this long. And even if you can't stay a long time, that's okay. It's still wonderful to have each and every one of you for however long you can spend your time here. I'm deeply appreciative that you're willing to do that. Thank you so much. As always, I have been Jess. You have been awesome. And this has been The Builder's Block. It is so great to be able to share my creations with you. I want you to share your creations with me. If you're willing, there is the Builder's Block chat on the Transverse Discord. So please stop on by. Please post and chat in there. I'm happy to answer questions or talk about things, and especially to see what you've created and continue this conversation. I hope you'll tune back in, not just to the Builder's Block, but to the Transverse Network. We have some great shows coming up. Jeannie, I'm assuming you'll be doing a show out where you are while you're traveling. That's typically the next show to come up in the roster of Transverse shows is Behind Open Doors. So I think that would be a great thing for you to tune in, assuming it is happening. If not, it's a great thing for you to tune into the next time it is happening, even if it's not tomorrow. On Fridays, often now, Valkyries has moved. She's not going to do Open Doors for travel. Understandable. So look for that next week. It's a more reason to subscribe and stay tuned, because you'll be able to catch that awesome show in the future with Jeannie as the incredible hostess. But you'll still have Valkyries. You'll still have Queer and Teen Kitchen with Billy, and the Transgender Show on Tuesday. And as Emily's saying in the chat, Valkyries in particular will have Jackbox games on Friday. Unfortunately, I'm often not always able to join, but I would love to. I love Jackbox games, so we'll see if that's the case. There's a possibility I'll be going back home to PA and having a certain conversation with my mom. So we'll see how that goes and if that happens. But no matter what, it's such a delight to have you. And I hope you can find value in all the different shows that the Transverse Network has to offer. And that you'll keep coming back. If nothing else, you'll maybe be able to see actual building next time. But until then, have a wonderful night. Go out there, keep on creating, and keep on making the world a better place. Until next time.